Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new episode of our City Zoo build, Tropical Wings Zoo. So here we are my friends, we are back in TW and we have a very special episode today. If you've missed last episode though, that's linked above. It was our Komodo Kingdom habitat build and you guys absolutely loved it. You've smashed the likes, you've smashed the views. It's absolutely killing it at the moment on the channel and I really appreciate it. I have done a few additions to that we're going to take a look at some point today, but the big thing is that I have one of the new animals in TW already. I just want to say a massive thank you to the guys at Frontier for giving me early access to the brand new DLC. Dahlia in particular, she's an absolute saint, always contacting me, always getting me involved in the Planet Zoo community, yeah, she's absolutely amazing. And as a result, my friends, I have a brand new animal and a brand new habitat to bring to you today, because obviously getting early access to the DLC means that I've had it for a few days and I've been able to work on something very special for today, and a new animal for Tropical Wings, and it's one of the DLC animals. So without further ado, let's jump in and take a look at what I've been up to. So here we are my friends, we are in TW at the entrance as always. Obviously the title and the thumbnail gives it away, the animal that I've introduced, and it is the red-crowned crane. I felt like this was going to be a perfect animal actually for the new sort of aquatic-y type area that we've got going, that we're going to get going actually. I'm going to take a break from the other bits and I think I need to finally just jump in and get this area started, because I keep putting it off because I'm not that good at building aquatic habitats. I would like to think I'm pretty half decent at the rest of the stuff, but aquatic stuff I really struggle with. So that's what we're going to jump in to. Now, what I'm going to say, gang, is that from the new DLC, I think all of the animals are amazing. There's 8 new animals, in case you're not aware, in the Wetlands Pack DLC. And I'm going to add 5 of the 8 to the zoo for definite, with a potential 6th. Lots of people have been asking on the Discord which animals I'm going to add. Now, obviously, I'm going to reveal to you the red-crowned crane habitat in today's episode. So that's one animal. I'm also going to add the buffalo, because I think they're going to be perfect over near the Komodo dragon. I'm going to sub out the giant otter for the small Asian clawed otter that we got in the new DLC. The capybara are going to be added and the newt is going to be added as well. I'm going to talk about the changes I'm going to be making to the croc house today, and if we've got space then I may add the caiman as well. It does mean there's 2 animals that miss out, but what I'm going to do with those 2 animals is do a couple of special one-off builds. The platypus in particular is one that you guys really want to see. I asked in the Discord and on the YouTube channel which animal you'd like me to do a one-off build for, so hopefully if I get the time before this week is out, there'll be a special one-off build involving the platypus. But today it's all about TW, it's all about the crane, and it's all about the work that I've been doing basically between last episode and this one. Now before I show you the brand new habitat and the new animal in TW, I want to show you some work that I've been doing over at Komodo Kingdom basically. So this was obviously last episode, it was the big reveal, we premiered it, we had a lot of fun. I just want to say a massive thank you as well, gang, because you've smashed the views on this one. It's well above the average on what an episode does in TW, and the likes as well have been absolutely smashed. So yeah, really appreciate it. So basically what I've done here is just been continuing on some work. I've been getting all this kind of wall design done, trying to get some planting in, trying to get it finished off. You're going to see we're actually starting to get a bit of a shape to this hill, I guess you could call it now. I'm not sure I'm going to finish off the back. I'm still working on how the back lot area is going to work, but I do really feel like we're getting somewhere now. So what I've done is I've added the second staircase in. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sure about the walls, but every other wall design that I used, I really didn't like. This is the one that looks the least clunky, and I think once the planting's finished, I think it might look all right. I want to add some planters along the wall as well, and I think we want to add some along here, because I feel like there's a lot of dead space up here, so I want to add some planting there. Obviously, we're going to add all this planting in. I do think it will eventually disappear. I've got the gates in, I've got a little fence in for our staff area, I've got a little planted area that will work there, a couple of planters here, and this is going to be the viewing platform for our buffalo. The reason why I started this as well, gang, is because I was going to do the buffalo for today's episode. I thought that I had that all planned out, and it turns out I didn't, because when I started working on it, it just did not come together. So instead, I decided to do one of the other animals from the new DLC that I knew I was going to put in TW, and that is the crane, and that is what we're going to look at right now. So let's swing the camera around and let's head over to where the crane have been put. So I've decided to put the crane over in what's going to be our new kind of aquatic area. And I thought, as they're in the wetlands DLC, it kind of makes sense to place them over in this area. Now, I was kind of doing my research, having a look at stuff online, as I always do. There were a couple of really cool habitats where cranes were concerned. There was actually one where they were mixed in with some red pandas, and I thought, oh my god, that would be immense. Now, the game doesn't suggest that you mix these animals, but I know you can get away with it. I decided not to in the end, because my plans for the red panda are very particular, and the build would have taken too long, and I wanted to get this build out. I'd been gifted the new DLC, which I really appreciate, and I just wanted to get it out on the day of release, so that I could showcase one of the new animals basically for you guys, and that build just would have taken too long, so I decided against it. Instead, I found this really beautiful habitat that had some cranes in, that was quite heavy on water. It had land in the middle, but it was really dense with the foliage, and it was all built up around the side, and it felt almost like a very well put together kind of like wild garden type thing. And that's what I've basically decided to do. Now, the crane are going to be our entry animal into the new semi-aquatic area, which is really cool. Now, the thing we need to keep in mind, as always, gang, is that some of the surrounding areas are not finished. The reason for that is because they're going to go off into other habitats or other things. So do keep that in mind, that there are a few little bits that are finished, but the habitat itself is well and truly done. So if we head over this way, this is the way we're going to be going. The information boards are still not done. I'm planning to do the speed build episode hopefully for this week, that I do all of those information boards. We'll get them all sorted out, we'll get them all put in, but you can see my process basically on how I put them together and why I've been putting them off as well, gang. Yeah, if we head up this way, we're going to go past our beautiful aviary on the left hand side. I'm going to carry on. I've started getting these gates together. I kind of had to, because when I was trying to get a screenshot, I had holes in that fence and it was really annoying me, but still not 100% finished. I've got all this flooring in now, and we were left with a big ugly space again. Unfortunately, it is what it is because of these areas, but I've put some drainage in, put some seats in, and those little details just seem to have broken it up ever so slightly. So we continued our fence on. There's another access point for our keepers here, and then a new planter. As you can see, I've started getting all the outline in for the other planters, but we are going to have paths going off in these directions. So yeah, that's kind of all I could do there. Now, the new habitat is right here, my friends. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little overview first. So, first and foremost, I want to throw it out there that the house is unnecessarily big. I've scaled this down as much as I can scale it down. The thing with Planet Zoo, unfortunately, is sometimes some things are just impossible to get small. But what we can keep in mind is that as the number of crane increase, we will have space for them, basically. You're going to see there's like a bit backstage that's almost like a sort of a caged area. when I was doing my research, when I was having a look, cranes can be kept in open, open kind of air habs like this one, or a lot of the time they're kept in one where it's like netting over the top, or they're kept in smaller kind of, I hate using the word cage, but smaller caged enclosures, more like this kind of type thing, the aviary that I've built already. Now, because they're a relatively large animal, I wanted to do open out. That was the decision I made, especially when I was looking and I was thinking about the red pandas going in with them. It had to be open out. But yeah, I've gone with open out, and the reason I've done that is because I've gone heavy on the water. When I was doing a little bit of reading, they were saying if you go heavy on the water near the viewing areas and whatnot, and there's enough height and whatnot, the animals are not going to escape. It's going to be fine. Very similar to a flamingo, basically. So you can get around that and you can get away with it. So that's exactly what I've done, basically, where the cranes are concerned. So we've got sleeping area here. This is kind of like a holding area is what I'm calling this. Essentially, the animals can be put in there or outside when the keepers are cleaning, or if the keepers need to get out onto the habitat, then the animals can be locked inside, basically, and they've still got this kind of outdoor area. I'm going to show you it all, and then this is the main hab, basically. This is their, the foot area. This is the water area. I've put this little jetty here. This is apparently their sleeping apparatus. So they don't use like the hay, the straw, or the leaves for their sleeping or their bedding. They use that. So I've just put one in, but from what I've noticed, they're just sleeping standing up anyway, so I'm not sure. So I've put that in, like you can see, I've gone really wild, really dense with the foliage. I'm actually going to add some more, but basically because of the new DLC and the new update, the smaller hitbox mod isn't working at the minute because it needs updating. So I'm going to leave the doors relatively clear for now, and then when the hitbox mod gets added, then I'm going to finish the doors. I've not put doors on the doorways because I'm probably going to make the doorways smaller at a later date, basically. So do keep that in mind. If you've got that mod, it won't be working until the person who created it updates it with the 1.9 update, basically. Right, so let's take a look at this habitat, shall we? So I've got 3 viewing areas. We've got a smaller one here, a relatively larger one here, and then we've got one over here, basically. I've only got 3 crane at the moment. I think this is a nice number though for the size of the habitat. Now, some people might be looking at the hab and thinking it's a bit small, but you have to remember it's a city zoo, and we've got lots of animals to get in the zoo, and so the zoo probably wouldn't have wanted to use too much room on this bird species, and so that's kind of my thinking. When I was kind of looking at lots of different pictures, lots of different examples from zoos all over the world, and this was the one I liked the most. So it's kind of the reason I went with this design, basically. So yeah, as you can see, I've gone pretty low key, to be fair. Like I've not really done anything that's like groundbreaking with this habitat. I've just done a nice kind of like pooled area. As you can see, I've used the plaster pieces just to kind of line the pool, keeping it to come all the way round, and then a lot of water area. That does have to be said. It's shallow water. There's not like any deep water, so the animals are kind of swim, because from what I was reading, they like to wade through the water more than they would like bobbing around in it. So I've kept it relatively shallow. As you can see, that's pretty much the depth of the water the whole way through. But I think that's really nice because it gives such a good effect when you see them kind of wading through the water, through the lilies and whatnot. I think it looks really, really nice, and it's kind of what I wanted. I'm always aiming for that realism, and when I read stuff and I look into stuff and then I see the pictures, and I like to just kind of replicate it in the game. And the trouble is with me is once it's in my head and that's what I want to go for, it has to be achieved. And this did end up being a bit of a challenge, this one, because getting this lined pool wasn't easy. As you're going to see, there are some bits that are like haven't quite banked as much as I wanted to, but because I've gone with a more natural kind of wild pool, that's how I've managed to get away with it, because I've gone very heavy on the planting, because we haven't concreted the bottom on this one. We've just kind of left it super natural. I'm gonna be honest, I wish I'd done that with the flamingos now. The issue I've got is I can't edit the flamingo habitat. Whenever I keep trying to update that, I have issues and the game crashes. Don't know why. It's just a weird little thing. But yeah, let me just show you each of the viewing areas basically. So we've got this one here, nice little education thing on the wall. Now, first time I've ever used this wall design. Okay, I've left it as the color that it was. You can actually recolor this. You can get all like grime and dirt and whatnot in the middle, but I've just left it as natural color because I really love it, and I really like it. But this is a beautiful piece, this, and I'd not used it before. So yeah, we've got a nice little viewing area here. We've actually got an amazing view of the three animals from this one. So yeah, just a nice little viewing area on this one. This is right next to the new kind of keeper access. I will take you backstage and show you everything that's going on back there as well. And then what I've done is I've just tried to break it up a little bit with planters basically. So we've got one here, and then there is one over at the back. They were a real challenge to get in because of the way that you have to lower the terrain to get all the water in. You have to lower the terrain so much to do water in this game. It is a nightmare, and I think it works. I think the game works on sea level basically. I think that essentially you have to get this to a certain point before water is possible, so that would be sea level, which is cool in itself, but at the same time a real pain in the backside. So yeah, I had trouble with this one, but I still think it turned out nice. So yeah, you come around this way and then you are at the second viewing area. This one's a lot larger, a lot like this one over here. Also added a little bench because I think this would be a really cool place to kind of sit and appreciate the habitat basically. So yeah, this is the second viewing area. Education stuff is already put in. As you can see, there's this kind of like little rock island, and yeah, I'll show you all of this in a bit more detail. So yeah, that's the second little viewing area there, and then we walk around this way and we come to our third viewing area over here. Very similar size to this one, but just a real different look at the habitat basically. You kind of see the house a bit more from this one, from this angle, and you can kind of see you know, the design that I've kind of gone with where the house is concerned. And then as you can see, you just kind of come to a dead end up here because we've got the fence and stuff. There is going to be stuff off in this direction, which is kind of like why I've come. You know, I wanted to do a lot of viewing for this one, and you know, we're going to go off in all different directions, but it's just a cool little way to kind of view the animal from a load of different perspectives basically. So let's actually take a look at the hab in a bit more detail, as I always do. So yeah, as you can see, we've done this like lined pool. This pool design changed numerous times. You know, I did put kind of like water runoff in, I did put drainage in and that sort of stuff. I think what I'm probably going to do at a later date is add like a fake kind of drain here, because what I'd like to do is have this same water over here for another habitat basically, so the water would be running through underground, and they would basically be sharing it. I'm thinking about putting the otter over here potentially. The sea lion are going to be in here, so yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing. And then we've got all this space down here that I really don't know what I'm going to do with, but anyway, that's for me to talk about at the end of today's episode. Yeah, the line pool changed a few times. This is the one I like though. I think this is the one that's come out the best. I've gone really kind of chunky with the edges of this because I wanted it to represent more like bricks that had been built up rather than you know, like a lined pool essentially, because this is a bit more natural, and that's kind of like what we've gone with. And then, yeah, as far as the habitat itself is concerned, I've just gone really, really lush and really wild. I've just really planted it up. It's nice to have been able to go with some aquatic plants. I don't use them nearly enough because of the way that I do a lot of my lined pools, because I'm aiming for realism. A lot of the pools that I do are kind of like lined concrete pools, so there isn't the ability to put anything in them unless you were to sink, underwater planters and whatnot, which isn't really something that's done. So it was nice to go with something a bit more natural and just really, really go heavy on the aquatic foliage. And the nice thing is just like I've been able to use some of the foliage I never use. A lot of the aquatic plants are actually really, really pretty, especially when you combine them with stuff like the reeds and stuff like that. I actually still think we probably need a few more different plants in here. Just to kind of bring it to life a bit more. There's a few plants that I use, like bushes, that when you lie them under the water, they look like algae and stuff like that. So I still think we maybe need to add a few, but I do feel like it's really, really pretty. So what I decided to do as well is I decided to put this like little rock island in. So the main image that I was using to kind of just get my bearings and just to get a feel for what a crane habitat can look like, was really, really pretty, in that essentially it had a very similar kind of design to this, where it was a lot of water and then kind of like a lined kind of bank, but in the center of the bank it had this like rock work that was built up, and then there was plants all coming off of it. I didn't really have enough land area to do that, so what I decided to do was just kind of do this like little rock island, have some some logs and whatnot and some plants around it, and I think that it's come off quite nice. And then we've put the little the little jetty next to it as well, and I think that works really, really nice, because it's hidden. Really, there isn't really many ways to see that jetty. If you just get a little view of it there, the only place you do see it is from over here. From this one you don't see it either. So yeah, it's pretty nicely hidden, the little jetty design. So I think that's like a nice little kind of addition to the hab. And then, as you can see, I've gone with this wall design all the way around. I just wanted to break up the amount of fence panels that I use, and the amount of I kind of feel like I was falling into this trap of just doing the same design around the edge of the habitats, using those metal fences that I've built, and using the wooden fence panels and stuff like that. And I felt like I was falling into this trap where I was getting a bit lazy, where I was just selecting them and just duplicating and doing that for the same for all the habitats. And when I was looking at the picture that I keep talking about that was using as my reference, that basically what they'd done is very similar to this, where they had a brick wall around the edge, and then they had put like hedges and stuff like around them as well, and then gone really heavy the other side of the wall with the foliage. So then it wasn't just dense inside, but you could see plants all creeping over the walls and like trees in the background and whatnot, just to kind of give it, to hide stuff in the background and just to give it some more depth. And I liked it, and that's why I kind of like I've gone with this design. So yeah, it's nice to use a new piece as well. This stone wall is gorgeous. I think I'm going to have to use it a lot more now. I think it will definitely become one of my favourite pieces. What's nice about it as well is when you place one piece, if you 180 the piece, then they line up as well, so all the stones actually line up on the wall. So there you go. If you didn't know, if you've been using it and you didn't know that, you just need to basically 180 it, and it all lines up. And then it's just, as far as the plant is concerned, it's just a mixture of my favourite plants. It's all the bushes and the grasses. I've really started to like the ivy a little bit as well, started to throw that up on the walls, because I just think it gives it a bit of age. As you can see, like we've even put it on the house. We've got these trellises on the house. They're the same trellises we used over in Komodo Kingdom, but I thought they'd look nice over here. Like I say as well, like once we get the doors sorted, I am going to add some more stuff in front, because I want it to look like they're on the trellises basically. And then the building will pretty much disappear, because that's what I want. I want the building to kind of look like it's at one with the habitat. I want it to completely disappear, a lot like the edges and on the wall have. That's kind of what I want to happen where that's concerned. So yeah, I love this hab. I really, really love it. I love the The fence that I've used as well, that I've built, that's using some of the fence panels that you get off of the European DLC, which was the last one that came out. There's so many pieces that I don't use because I got my favourites. I kind of forget there's so many pieces. And then as far as the backstage stuff is concerned, because I know you guys love to look at all this as well, obviously I've had to do a lot of work at the backstage to get this all kind of working. So this was already in all of this here, so we've already got like one gate that goes in and out. This is the gate for the vehicles, and then what I've done is I've added another smaller gate over here. I generally think this would be one of those areas where there would be quite a few little access points in and out just to make it easier for the keepers, and then we've just continued the path back here. I added in this planter here because we had all of this foliage that kind of like creeps up over the wall, and then I've got bushes and plants and this lovely tree as well. I wanted to add like a couple of different trees in this hab, so I've used this one here. I think this one's really nice to add some yellow into the zoo. I tend to stick with the plants that are really like green because I just find that easier on the eye, but yeah, in this hab I wanted to add some other stuff, so you know, we've added these pink flowers and this red plant here, nice big yellow tree, nice to get like the reeds in because they're a different colour as well. So yeah, we just kind of built up all the foliage back here because again, it was like I was saying, I wanted to get some depth into the habitat, and I really feel like this done that. And then if we come round the back, this is essentially what I was saying about that kind of caged holding area. So this is like pretty large, isn't it? This cage. When they're in it though, my God, it doesn't look big at all. It really doesn't. But yeah, essentially I wanted the keeper access gate to be on this rather than on the building, because when you put access gates on the building, you tend to have to build them up slightly higher just to kind of accommodate the door and to be able to hide the gap between the door and the ceiling, basically. And I wasn't going to put like a proper ceiling on this. I wanted it to be kind of like an exposed roof with all of the supports and whatnot. So yeah, so I wanted to put the keeper access back here, so that's exactly what I've done. It's become part of this little area at the back. I think what I'll end up doing is there will be like a bit of path that kind of follows this and goes down here, because as you can see, I kind of got my guttering ready to put that down the bottom there, basically. So we will probably add a bit more path, and there'll probably be another kind of keeper access gate up here at some point anyway, so we probably will carry it on in that direction as well. But yeah, this is where the keeper goes in. So yeah, it's really basic this, because it was just a holding area. You know, all the stuff I was looking at, they really kept it pretty bare. Maybe a few like logs or whatnot, and some food dishes. So I've done, you know, I've put the food dishes down. I'm sure I could add some other stuff, you know, back here at a later date if I need to. And then I kind of built this thinking that they would need, you know, a super huge amount of room, and then yeah, they just didn't, because they don't actually really use this to sleep in, which is a pain in the backside. I assume they were going to be similar to the flamingos basically, but they're not. Their sleeping apparatus is outside, so yeah, it is what it is. What would have probably been cool is to kind of build like a house on the water for them, maybe a bit like, you know, you can build those little duck houses that they can sleep in. A lot of farmers and whatnot use them, don't they, to stop the foxes getting at the ducks and stuff. But they're a big animal, so it would have had to have been quite a large structure. So this will do. This is fine, and it's just in my usual over-the-top silly amount of details tile as well. It's completely unnecessary, really. But yeah, we've done all the struts and whatnot on the ceiling. Nice bit of trim work and whatnot. And yeah, like I say, these doors are relatively large, but I think this one I might make a little bit smaller. This one, I reckon this one will probably stay this size, to be fair, and I just need to get the doors done for it. But I didn't want to be making the doors and then be left in a position where I would have to remake them all once that mod is updated. So yeah, I didn't really want to have to do that, to be honest with you. So yeah, and then you go out to the hab basically from here. It's just a different look at the habitat basically. But I feel like this one has come out cracking. I really, really do. And, you know, really, I think the big thing we need to do is take a look at the new animal, because this is a new DLC. And I know not everybody will have it straight, you know, from the off, but they are an absolutely beautiful design. I think that the guys at Frontier, they smash it a lot of the time, in my opinion. There's a few animals we've had, you know, I remember when the Bintaron come out, and it would, you know, the backlash they got led to them redoing it, didn't it? And I still feel like there's a couple of animals we've got. The lion always sticks out. I think its face is a bit cartoony, but the new animals that we've got in the DLCs, they really do smash it out the park, and I feel like they've really, really hammered this one. I think it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, there you go. That's the red crane habitat, gang. Let me know what you make of that one in the comment section below. I would really, really appreciate all your feedback. And yeah, let's go and talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, gang, so let's talk about what's going to come next, where TW is concerned. I'm probably going to hold out for a new TW until next week now, because I've got a few other videos that I want to do. Obviously, I want to do my, you know, a one-off build for the platypus, and there's a few other things that people have been asking for. So I have got some you know, some videos that I want to prep and get done and get out on the channel as well. There's lots of people asking for help and tips and stuff like that. So you know me, I love kind of making those videos that can help you out basically. So I want to really try my hardest to get some of those videos sorted out this week. Basically, my wife is off work at the minute. When she's off work, it is so much easier to get stuff done, because obviously she can look after Emily while I crack on. But anyway, let's talk about TW though, because we know we've got lots of plans in the offing. But what happens all the time when a new DLC gets dropped is that obviously animals get added to the list that are going to be part of the zoo, and then we get really excited about, you know, DLC and the animals. And the big thing for me is I never end up adding them, you know, when you want to add them, which is at the earliest point possible. Now, obviously, I've been very fortunate this time because, you know, the guys at Frontier contacted me and gave me early access, but that doesn't happen for me all the time, and it doesn't happen for everyone either. But I feel like we've still got so many animals, you know, from when we first started the project that, you know, we've kind of neglecting, or we haven't done habs for, that we really kind of need to do before we think about these new DLC animals, as exciting as they are. You know, I personally really want to get the capybara habitat done, because they are just a cool animal. I just think they're amazing. And I think I'm probably going to do a big kind of Americas area. I don't want to do a South America area. I think like an area for the Americas, and the animals that I've got for that area might be good. And, you know, there could be a tropical kind of area that involves the capybara and stuff. But, you know, we've got lots and lots of animals basically that we still need to build for. But, you know, the big thing I've been putting off, gang, is I keep putting off this semi-aquatic area, and I feel like I can't keep putting it off, and I can't put it off anymore. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, and it kind of feeds into using the new DLC, is I'm thinking about potentially doing the otter next. Now, I know this is an animal that lots and lots of you want to see, because, you know, when I asked about the one-off build using new DLC animals, the otter was up there with the platypus, basically. The people wanted to see it. So what I'm potentially thinking of doing is having the otter kind of down here, basically. I'm not sure how big this hab's going to have to be. I know that otter habs, like in zoos, are not gigantic a lot of the time. They're usually a decent size. They're not the biggest animals either. But, you know, like, we want to do it in a way so that we get to, you know, see the animals swimming and whatnot. But you know, that's such a big task for me, because I'm not that great at kind of this side of things. And I think what I really need to do is just go away and do some practice, which is why I'm saying that there probably won't be another TW this week. It'll probably be the tail end of next week. But I'm hoping to potentially do the otters next. If I don't do the otters, then the other thing I'm thinking of doing is what was going to be the croc house. Now, what I mean by that is that we were going to do this house that was dedicated to the crocodilians and the amphibians in the game, basically. Now, what I'm actually thinking of doing is just doing a reptile house now and having all the animals in that house, the crocs, the amphibians, the reptiles, all of them in there, and it's job done, basically. I kind of want to change that plan. As good as the croc house sounds, I just think we've got to think about this from a realistic standpoint. And would a city zoo have the space to have a reptile house and a croc house? I don't think it would. I think they would put all their money and all their eggs in the one basket and just build a big reptile house. The other reason why I want to do a reptile house as well with these animals in is because there's a few mods that I want to add to the game. Now, you know me, I've been very 50-50 about the mods, but I talk to Leaf a lot, and obviously we know how involved Leaf is with the modding community, and he helped me out a lot where the small hitbox mod was concerned, and it's very stable, and all the mods I've used have been really good. So there's a few mods I want to add to the game. They're all tortoise species, basically. I wanted to get some smaller tortoises for, the reptile house, so they could be kind of indoors and whatnot. And there's some really, really good ones on there. So I think I'm definitely going to be adding those to TW. And also what I'm thinking about doing is getting the iguana mod, because they've managed to get the iguana outside of the exhibit box, and I think that might be cool to kind of make something for them. So I'm thinking about getting some reptile mods, and then we'll make a big reptile house. Now, with that said, that's not going to be down here now. Basically, we're not going to do that in this area. So the reptile house is going to get moved elsewhere. I'm really not sure where. I was thinking about potentially doing it over here, so that it's still close by to the semi-aquatic area, because there are quite a lot of animals that are going to be in that are semi-aquatic, basically. So it is still quite close. That's why I was thinking about potentially kind of doing it over here. But I need to get this path, here to the sea lions in first. So I would imagine that I'm probably going to have to put the reptile house off for a little while, so there won't be any crocodilians in the zoo. And I know there's a couple of people that are really, really looking forward to me doing it, and I have to apologize. Basically, it's very difficult, this project, because there's so many different animals that people want to see and that I want to do as well, and we're kind of getting to that point where the zoo is really, really packing out. And we're going to get to a point soon where we're going to be quite into this area. This, obviously, we know what's going to go in here and what's going to finish that off. So, it's kind of getting to a point where it's really, really exciting, this zoo. So, yeah, potentially I'm going to do the otter next episode. If not the otter, it might be the buffalo, because we know where we want to put the buffalo. But yeah, I'm really not sure. You watch the next episode to come around, it won't be any of these animals. It'll be something I haven't even spoken about, basically. But that's essentially the plan, and that's my plan as well. That I'm going to change the croc house to just a general reptile house, because I think it makes more sense from a realistic standpoint. I just think it will work better as well. We can break everything up a bit more, and I just feel like we've got so many reptiles that we need to add into the zoo, and if we can just do all of that in one foul swoop, that's a lot of animals that we can tick off the ever-growing animal list. It's amazing how I got people to pick the animals for this project to limit the amount we would have, and then every DLC that comes out, I end up adding animals because they're just so good. Like the cranes, for instance, they're just so damn good. But yeah, that's today's episode. That's what's coming next. Here's to the cinematics. And so there you have it, my friends. We are done and dusted for another episode of Tropical Wings Zoo. I really, really hope you've enjoyed that one, my friends, and enjoy the new red-crowned Crane, and the new member of our zoo. Absolutely buzzing to have these guys in, and again, I know I've already said it, but a massive thank you to the guys over at Frontier for giving me early access. Very, very much appreciated. I am now going to be off ski. You enjoy the cinematics, like I've already said. If you are new around here, my friends, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel. Please drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it as well. I really, really appreciate every like that you drop, and it really, really supports not only the channel but this series in particular, and helps more people on the tube of you to find it, my friends. But yeah, I'm off ski. I've got habitats to work on, I've got one-off builds to work on, I've got tutorials to work on, so yeah, I'm off. Stay safe, stay humble. Until the next one, see you all later.